everybody. I'm Mehek Dhawan, anchor, host, master of ceremonies. I welcome each one of you to the Chat Trap. And in today's Chat Trap, we have Parvez Alam and Sachi Gupta. Parvez Alam and Sachi Gupta are the founders of Studio Synthesis. The duo are a renowned name in the field of architecture. They operate from their offices in London and New Delhi and specialized in designing corporate, residential, retail, office spaces, etc. Over the years, they are much recognized not only in India but abroad as well for their masterpieces. So let me take a pleasure and welcome Parvez Alam and Sachi Gupta for the Chat Trap.
Hi.
Welcome to the Chat Trap, guys.
Thank you, Meg.
How are you feeling today?
It's wonderful.
Good to see you both.
Same here.
So I think we should just get into the Chat Trap, and I should start with the first question. And my first question will be for Parvez. Parvez, how did you come up with this name, Synthesis?
Actually, it was long back in 2005 or 6 when we thought of starting something new on our own. At that point of time, we have been working together before that also in college also. But our style of working was like developing something new and out of multiple elements. So synthesis actually meant that amalgamation of two or more elements, joining them and creating something new. So that was the idea at that point of time, which we thought. We were too immature at that time. We were too young at that time, but still I think we made a good decision.
Of course. So was it mutual decision to keep this name, or it was your decision?
It was.
Okay.
Well, the name definitely came from him, but I think the ideology behind about synthesizing various elements, I think we both unanimously approved on that. Yeah.
Wow. And it's actually a very catchy name, you know.
It is indeed.
If not architecture or designing, what profession would you probably, prefer, or maybe you would have thought of going?
Meg, to tell you the fact, even architecture was not my decision. He knows that.
Was it?
Yeah. So basically, it's like I was just driven by my fate, my fortune, I don't know what. But I just trailed into it because I just didn't want it to be a part of the conventional options of engineering or doctoring, because I thought it was too cliche and boring. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to offend any profession, but for me, I never saw myself being an engineer or architecture. And then coming along to this profession, which had an artistic intrusion into it, just attracted me, and I thought my chances of getting enrolled in this would be much more, because everybody was striving to become an engineer and doctor or something.
At
so
that
yeah,
time, yeah, that point, that time was like that.
Very
But
conventional.
yeah, exactly. For me, it was different.
Okay. So you talk about how many years before, if I may ask?
How many years before?
Because he mentioned that time.
Oh, it's basically
21, 22 years.
Yeah, probably when I was 18, 19, when we were just on that verge of,
Sure.
finding our ways through our lives,
Right.
and wanting to do something out there in the world, and confused.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was different. My dad was a civil engineer, and he had some interest in designing. So I was on the more creative side. So I thought of going either in fashion designing or something creative, maybe product design or architecture. I had multiple options. But seeing my dad working on the drawings, I developed my interest by the time I finished my schooling or the last final years of schooling. I picked up, it was a conscious decision that I want to go in architecture.
So this is what we call synthesizing. So opposite poles.
Synthesizing.
Where we are coming
Absolutely.
from.
Absolutely. So Parvez,
Yeah.
you just mentioned that you like something which is really creative. So how do you think of different designs?
See, something which has already happened. There are two things. Something which has already happened. In that, there are two things. One is too much happened. People know it. It is too obvious. People have been seeing that from ages, and they think it is usual now. Then something comes up which is away from usual. That is, I would call more on the creative side because somebody thought of something innovative. That's how they stand apart from it. So you see something which has happened on a different lines, which is out of the box, and then you come up with your style, maybe inspired by something which has happened on the innovative side, or you come up with your own idea which has not happened. That's how you try to be on a different side and out of the box, and it envies other designers as well, that we could have thought of on this as well. So basically our philosophy on design is basically a single line. If I have to say, it is innovating on obvious. That with the things which are obvious, people generally don't look on that, or maybe they're neglected from long time, and we find those points, we find those areas, and we try to innovate them. And when people see those corners innovated, that it automatically becomes on the out of the box side or a different design.
So, guys, my next question, either of you can answer. You guys have designed a restaurant in UK and then another restaurant in India. So, how do you guys maintain that variation? You know, because one is absolutely different and kind of English creativity, I'm sure it requires, and one is in India, and you have to
True.
give that Indian touch to and designing while
Exactly,
designing
yes.
an Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
So, how do you maintain that variation?
Every project has got their unique set of requirements. So those requirements and the eventual vision of the client or whosoever is making the space, that derives us to reach that space. So the requirement of the project and the brief and the vision of the client, that makes every project a unique set to start with, and automatically the product comes on the different side.
Like you just said, that innovating on obvious is the requirement. You know, there is a restaurant, there will be food, there's a specific requirement of, you know, the culinary skills that is involved in that restaurant. However, like for example, the Indian restaurant that you're talking about, dhaba. So if I talk about dhaba has very, you know, we have lived in and out of dhabas. It is so obvious. And then how Dhaba by Claridge's, when it came out of the, you know, 5-star facilities out for public into the public spaces, it intrigued people because it was totally out of the box. So the requirement came from the fact that how can we modernize the existing dhabas, even in terms of materials, even in terms of ideologies, even in terms of food experimentation. So it was a good marriage of, you know, creativity, which is, you know, the interiors, the look, and the food. So it's a good fusion. So even, for example, the nimbu mirchi that we keep seeing hanging in the trucks,
the evil eye, which is used
that's the Indian evil eye, basically.
So basically, every element inside the restaurant was custom designed for that property.
So
nothing
it's
was
done
on
in
the
glass.
shelf.
You know, the glass is a modern material. So it just clicked the vibe of the new generation.
Wow.
The idea when we were discussing with the client was they always wanted the youngsters to be part of this dhaba, because through generations they have just seen people with huge families, you know, grandparents. If it's their anniversary, they come to dhaba because it's a traditional food. The one feedback that actually helped us connect with the vibe that what the client was wanting and what the public would be intrigued into was, I want the young generation to be part of a traditional dhaba.
Wow.
So that helped us in innovating
Absolutely.
every obvious element that was part of dhaba and that we've been seeing. You know?
Right. Sticking with the roots, basically.
Yes, but giving it a modern vibe, you know.
Right.
Then coming on to Toto's, it's again in the listed building. It's one of the houses of Winston Churchill. It had zillions of, you know, restriction to just get that place
I'm
sorted.
sure of it.
But that's in Italian, and it had a regular clientele there. You know, like in London, there's a very good specific pub culture.
Patronage.
Your own specific, you know, street restaurant place that you would want to go. People are experimental, but they stick to that culture where they want to go every evening. So it was one of them, and it was very close to their heart in that Walton Street community. So we had to be very sensitive, keeping in mind the guidelines and everything. So it had to be an understated luxury where people could still relate to, because we couldn't give something out of the box where people were scared to come. Oh, this doesn't look like the one that I wanted to go every
Because
evening.
you have to follow those rules
Exactly.
as well. Yes.
So again, it is derived from the environment where that place is sitting or the project is sitting.
Right.
But it's essentially from the requirement what it comes. You just have to be innovative. That's about it.
Of course. So now my next question will be, I'm sure it's going to be very tricky. And which is your favorite project, guys, till date?
I think no parent can say
I
that
was
which
about
kid
to
is
say
your
that.
favorite.
No, but
So
still, you
projects are
have
like
to.
that
You
only.
have to, without being diplomatic, you have to tell me which is your favorite baby. You know?
It's actually a very tricky one. Like you said, you can't distinguish between your own kids. But I guess
we have given 100% to everything and raised them like a baby, so
I'm
it's
sure.
hard to choose.
it's
And
elements
it
still
won't
we
be
can talk
fair.
Okay,
about.
anything which
Yeah.
is closer to your heart, probably you can.
So yeah, I think Sevilla, another restaurant in you know, Forensic Road, is one of very closer to my heart. Dhaba, of course, is there. There are other elements.
There are a few
into-
residences.
Residences, of course, play a very, very emotional part in our life, because while we are designing a residence, you get connected to the family. It's like you become part of their families, because when you're doing a residence for a person, you know them in and out.
Okay, so since we've started talking about residential project also, so which one would you prefer, like designing corporate, restaurants, or maybe residential? Which is your favorite?
Well, residence always. I mean, I love doing restaurants because it has a different spunk of creativity.
Right.
But I think because I'm a little emotional, I just love doing residence.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
about you, Parvez?
Exactly. Residential is the one thing that we love doing, and it's like all the residences are very close to our heart, and we have to think of every corner, minutest detail, everything that has to be thought of.
Absolutely.
No doubt, restaurants is another thing that we love doing.
I mean, corporates are also good because now corporates are no more traditional,
Right.
those boring workstations.
I think
those
everybody is
typical
breaking the
fall ceiling.
stereotypes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They
So
want to
I
be.
think it's just that you have to find your fun ways to create amazing spaces and amaze your clients.
Sure. So, guys, do you have any signature style? You follow something which you actually give it to most of your projects, or it's actually going with the flow and the requirements?
Actually, not a signature, but as I said that our philosophy on design, that we try to innovate and obvious, and with a reason. There has to be a valid reason to it. May it be climatology or green building or things like that. So innovating on obvious is our first thing that whenever we hit a drawing board on any project, that is the first thing we try to do, and that is evident in all our projects. And there's no color scheme or a design element or a signature like that. There's nothing like that, because our work is too diverse. We have done totally classical, modern classic, and totally modern contemporary, and all the languages. They are very diverse work we have done. So I would not say that we have a
We don't have a
Signature,
style, but
not
yeah,
signature.
in particular, if I have to answer that for myself,
Mhm.
I want to create happy spaces.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So even if you watch the pictures, see videos, or you are in the house or the
You know,
restaurant
the
or any of the
reactions
places,
Right.
of the
that when you
client.
enter the
Yeah.
place, there has to sparkle in your eyes.
You-
Right?
It's like,
Yeah.
Wow. So
This
you
is
want to
what I
see all
want.
happy faces.
happy
Okay.
spaces, happy faces,
Happy faces.
everything happy about the space, nothing else. And it works for us. Because at
It
times,
does.
we have seen the reaction. Remember that client of ours in Noida, the kids entered and then they couldn't imagine that this is our home.
Exactly.
Are we going to live
A
in
jaw-dropping
here?
experience.
It's like
We
the
designed a
cuteness.
residence.
Yeah.
It was office. It was an office for
Yeah.
an investment banker, a different
Yes,
kind of office,
this was
not a
another
usual
one.
office. So he could not come while the project. He just saw the 3Ds renders in the initial stages, and didn't visit the site even once. Once the site was visited, he entered the space. He saw the space before we have worked there, and once the project was finished, he entered. His jaw was actually dropped with the awe. And
Wow.
How can you do
So
that?
those expressions.
Yeah.
Yes, we wish we have cameras around us to capture that
to
moment
capture
because
it.
Actually,
it cannot be
we
repeated
should do
again.
that. We should do that. Okay, and these kind of situation where clients or somebody who sees like
Yeah.
before and after and actually experience those spaces, it is always
And there's
good
another one
to
very
capture.
emotional, that residence that we did again in Delhi.
Hmm.
There was a little sad story attached, and the father, just to avoid that sad moment in their life, never wanted to stay home, and he started working so hard. The daughter gave us that brief that we need our father back in the house, and we need that space where he just wants to stay. And we took that so seriously, and we did, of course, we do 100% in whatever we do.
And it ended up being.
It ended up being
Wow,
that, now
amazing.
she calls and says, my father doesn't want to step out of the house,
He
he
stays at
calls
home, he
everybody to
does
show his
parties,
face.
he does
So you guys actually justified when you said that we would like to be, this kind of a closer relationship which we
Yes.
form with our
Yes.
clients, and you guys have
And
actually justified.
trust us, Delhi is not where we belonged. Our friends and family are our clients here.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we call as our family here.
Amazing,
and
guys.
we thrive on.
Amazing.
So that's actually well earned, I would say.
Yeah,
Is
it
it?
is. It
Yeah.
is.
So, guys, since you both operate from your offices in London and New Delhi, now I wanted to ask you, I mean, the clientele in India, are they like more easy to work with, or maybe in London?
Well,
I would not generalize. There are all kind of people in both the locations.
Is
all
it?
kind of people, yes.
Yeah,
I
but
would not generalize.
this is the happy picture we are showing.
Right.
When you meet a client, it takes a time
Mm-hmm.
for them to understand you and for us to understand them.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
so I would give a little extra credit to my husband because there's generally a way we approach a project most of the time, not every time. So say there was another residence that's still going on, and the client had come from Singapore, and he was, you know, not too well versed about how Delhi culture works.
Exactly.
Right.
The
And
weather, culture,
everything.
and weather, everything. Pollution, culture,
So
weather,
he
everything.
being a noble man, he tried to explain him stuff, but he was a little, you know, stiff, and you know, he really took patience of my husband. By the time I entered, he was very sorted.
Okay.
You know, so it was an easy peasy for me. You know, it was breezy for me. So at times, initially, to crack the requirement, like for example, he was used to sitting in his balcony with a pool outside in Singapore.
Right.
But with Delhi pollution, he tried to explain: don't cut into your habitable spaces.
Sure.
Don't give
Absolutely.
importance. I mean, give importance to a balcony, but like a 15-feet balcony encroaching in your
In
indoor
India,
spaces
you can't
doesn't make
expect
sense.
that.
But
Absolutely.
and today is the day when he accepts that fact that I should have listened to you guys.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know, it takes a while we get them
Yeah.
Absolutely.
along.
So
and then they
basically,
crack it.
maybe anybody who's making a house, say he might be making a second or third time. Generally, people don't make more than that. The houses in which they actually want to live, not the second home. So if they want to live in a home, actually use that space, they might be making second time or third time. We have been doing this for last 20 years.
20 years.
So
Obviously,
we
you
have
guys are the
slightly-
masters
Yeah,
of this
Yeah,
field.
we are slightly
Yeah.
more experienced
Yeah.
than them. So we want them to utilize
Yeah,
our
having been
experience.
studied and
Yeah.
experienced.
But you know, initially it's not about design; it's a psychology that we have to play in.
I'm
You
sure.
know, there are also a lot of cases like we can go on and on.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
the fact is
there are
that
hundreds of them,
okay, this
specific
one I would want to put
requirements,
across
yes.
that, you know, people they stay on a certain floor, and then of course they rise, grow, and then they move to a farmhouse. So we have done their one floor, and then we have done their farmhouse as well. So that's the
Farmhouses.
relationship that we carry
Basically,
on.
farmhouse to private bungalow, then to
wherever.
farmhouse.
Yeah.
So the psyche of moving from that space to this space, then
Right.
to
A
maybe
bigger space.
To a bigger space. I'm
It's
Yeah.
not easy because you're
And
used
who's-
to a certain restricted environment that you stay,
Absolutely.
which is also luxurious. But then you forget in
It
a
takes
while
time to
Yeah,
absorb and
exactly.
that you
get
know,
that
it's
comfort
just
zone.
not this
Yes.
floor. You have multiple for yourself,
Right.
and then your son is not going to live with you because he
Yes.
has another outhouse for
Absolutely.
himself. So
Right.
it's kind of
Now,
funny.
actually, who's been living in a farmhouse or a really large house for a long time, and they understand the logistics behind maintaining those kind of properties and the elements inside those kind of
Yeah.
properties.
Right.
And if they are making a second house, they say it's okay, we will not be able to maintain it,
Mhm.
or we don't want to maintain it. We think
Right.
we have enjoyed that kind of thing, but we don't want something like that. They tone down a bit.
Right.
So there are all kind of people.
I'm sure.
Those who are upgrading, or those who have been going little sober or humble because
Mhm.
they've
Yeah.
already done that, been there.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like I said, the design comes. Of course, it is there. It needs to play, and that is our job. But to understand the psyche and to get them into that whole
Comfort
process
zone, I'm sure
smoothly,
it takes
I think that's the
time.
most tough part.
So, guys, being in the most creative field, I'm sure there are long working hours, long discussions with clients. So, how do you guys manage your personal space?
Well, I have to add that. I-
Very difficult one,
Okay,
actually.
I need to add to that.
Aarti.
So, like I said, most of our time has been with, we together are hardly together, but we are always together because we are with the clients and,
Sure.
things like that. And my man, being my man, is a man of few words, as you can all see. The patience, his silence, his patience is all so much tested by the clients most of the time. I'm not saying all the clients are like that. By the time he comes back as a husband, there is no patience left for me. So I am literally a victim. I have to confess this. Sorry, that's a public platform, but
That's
yeah.
okay.
But so I think this is a positive as well as a negative fact that we are couples in our
You
lives.
guys are a power couple, according to me. Let me tell you.
I would
Thank
not-
you.
I don't
I don't know
know.
what that means, but
Extremely
yeah.
successful, working in the same field, taking mutual decisions, and I'm
Well,
sure you guys.
It takes a lot.
And
though.
many of them will. All my viewers are gonna agree with me. You guys are a power couple. So how do you guys get time? I mean,
Well, we need to take our time.
Right now, I would not comment anything on time. See, when we are in London office, we start our day at 4 a.m.
oh yes.
because we have to match with the India time.
Right.
And then when we are in India, then we have to work till like 3 a.m. in the night because we have to match with the UK time.
But
So
but
time
I'm,
is like
but I'm sure looking at Sachi, you know, being a vibrant personality, I'm sure she manages. She makes sure to take that personal space. You
Yeah.
know, and
So
so
literally snatch it. That now
We
be
can-
mine, you know.
we can
it's
sense
like
that.
it's like saying I think she gets more serious towards work and she's working all the time. I try to take my Sundays off, which I generally manage every time or almost every time. But she's like the one even trying to trying or is she's forced to work on Sundays as well.
No, but the fact is that still, even I know he's accusing me in a way. Sorry, but I know him. But the fact is that, you know, while even you're working, because you have to prioritize. You know, you
I'm
can't be
sure.
lingering on the work.
Absolutely.
But the fact that, you know, even that 1 hour, like in London, it's our favorite time. When we
Yeah,
drop
morning,
a sun
yeah.
in the morning,
Oh.
that's a half day. That is already done as per Indian time. So it's a 2 p.m.
Around
here.
around 9 o'clock there in the
There.
morning we have a walk and with a
We
coffee on High
step
Street.
out for a
Like
walk
half an
with
hour.
coffee,
Hmm.
and that time we promise each other we're not talking about work.
Work. I'm
Yeah.
It's
sure.
just like a
Meet
the most
us
de-stressing time.
Yes.
Us time.
Us time.
Just walking.
So you know
yeah.
that 1 hour gives us that energy back
For sure.
to get back to the grind. You know. So
I'm
we
sure.
just somewhere here and there
Try
we
to
manage.
take
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
You know. So Parvez, how do you describe Sachi personally and professionally? We would like to hear this from you.
For me, she's the energy,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
and
She is indeed.
she gives all the energy. She gives all the
Indeed.
energy. She is the energy. She is the driving factor. She is taking me everywhere. She wasn't there by my side. I don't know where I have been by now, but I would give 100% credit to her, whatever I've been doing. So it's like a saying that diamond is merely a lump of coal which
This is
performed
coming
under
from a doting
pressure.
husband.
I
You
would
know.
cry because my husband.
Not from a
appreciate
business
me,
partner,
No,
but
you haven't let me finish yet.
Please go
That
ahead.
diamond is a merely lump of coal which performed under pressure. So the pressure was given by her.
Here it comes. With all the appreciation he's given that one line.
No, no, please go ahead. We
And
would
that
like
was
to
an
hear
energy
it.
pressure. Basically, she
No.
drive me there.
Mhm. Oh,
You
how
know,
sweet.
it's very rare that he appreciates that and that to public. Thank you.
And Sachi, what
Mm.
attracts you about Parvez, personally and professionally both?
Personally, lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Lot of stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, which also I think he'll be shocked to know because we ensure that we do not appreciate much each other every time we are in there, so that we are all sane. So personally, I think he's a very very humble man, and he is a humanitarian. I just can't get over the fact that that quality of not just saying humanitarian, he actually applies that, and it just comes automatically to him. So which I try. I mean, I am a humanitarian, I'm not saying I'm not, but how naturally it comes to him. He doesn't see who, where, what. He just goes out of the way to reach out to people, help them. And I think I'm just amazed, and I'm like blessed, because genuine people are very rare to be found, and I think he's
Thank you
one of
very
them.
much.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys, I wanted to ask this question from you guys, because as I already said that you guys are a power couple for many, and many looking up to you guys. And it's a union of two states. Parvez Alam and Sachi Gupta.
Oh, well, yeah.
So,
That's another chapter.
How are the families, by the way? They're like very happy. They like mutual.
I'll tell you, it's not like
Don't
the
tell
way
me
it
it's
sounds.
like after the sun type.
No, it wasn't like that. It was we thought in college that it will be a very difficult thing for us, but it was like a walk of a cake. We
Yeah.
actually, when I
Wow.
cracked this news to my parents, they actually knew that Sachi is my friend. And when I cracked this news that we're going to get married, there was a pause of 5 minutes.
Happy and accepting.
Yeah, there was a pause of 5 minutes,
There was,
and
there was.
that after that pause, it was all okay.
So
Then
well,
they
here
are-
I would actually want to put that on a public platform that his side of our family generally, with his surname, people have a perception that they will be more conservative In our case, it was reverse. I mean, his parents accepted me very open-heartedly and with open arms, irrespective of how the community is perceived, and they think that they are like conservative, and plus I'm working, I'm outgoing. There's not even a single restriction till date that's been imposed by my in-laws.
And we had a very comfortable gala proper wedding with all relatives and a normal wedding.
So
I
you guys
think
follow each other's
Yes, like
and
I said.
respect each other's
Yeah.
sentiments.
So our house is like a mad house, because if you have 2 festivals to follow, we have 7 festivals.
and Diwalis
Yeah.
and
It's
all
like
that.
Eids and
Yeah,
Diwalis
exactly.
and Holies
And what about the junior Alam?
Oh, he enjoys.
He was born on Christmas, so we have another thing to say.
Oh my god. This
It's
is
a
interesting.
multi-diversity
It's-
kind of a family.
Yes.
So our friends actually make a joke of us that what is the next public festival that you guys are going to endorse on?
And we were married on 2nd October, so we celebrate that as well.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot that.
Anniversary on 2nd
Yeah.
October.
Mahatma Gandhi's birthday.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
So, yeah.
So guys, I'm sure you guys are, listening to us and you watching them, power couple, business partners, absolutely successful, in love, so much of love, and, working absolutely good, delivering amazing projects. Okay, so now there's an interesting session. We have a rapid fire for you guys.
Wow.
And this rapid fire is going to be very different what a script handed over to me. Now I'm going to ask you...
Should I be scared?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. It's a chat trap though.
Okay.
You guys are trapped.
Yeah.
We're going to do how close you know your partner.
Okay.
So let's check it out in a rapid fire, how close you know your partner. He's going to give me the answers first, and then I'm going to cross check with you, and you have to be absolutely honest with us. You can't be taking your husband's side
Yeah.
She's
at
always
all.
honest
Yeah.
anyways. Yeah.
Okay, so starting with Parvez. These choices are of Sachi's. Basically, you have to tell us what all she likes, and then we're going to
Okay.
cross check with her that whatever you said is right or not. Sachi, a mountain or a beach person?
Beach,
Netflix or cinema?
Netflix,
Cooking, reading, or maybe planning to extend more projects and
planning to
working.
extend.
Wow. First thing she gets up when in the morning, what she does? When she okay. She prefer wearing formal or casual, like what she
Formals.
likes.
She always want to be dressed.
Okay. Is she social or antisocial?
Social, very social.
Her favorite, UK or India?
UK.
Now you have to tell
Oh
me.
my goodness, that's spooky. He knows it all.
Is it 100
Yeah,
out of 100?
out of 100.
Okay.
Not even an iota I can complain about the fact that, what he said. Well,
There was very easy ones. There,
Yeah.
there were very easy ones.
It
She would have
was-
given
I
me a
think-
little difficult.
because when you live so much in
Because
and out of
before
each other,
she's saying that he's right, I knew I'm right. I was confident.
that's the confidence, guys.
Wow. Okay. And how you guys have been together even before marriage? How many years you guys have been together?
Oh, well, should I disclose that?
12 years.
12 years?
We've been dating. He was abroad, he was studying. I was
Still.
here.
The stability, 12 years in
Well,
this
yeah.
generation.
It's been now 21, 22 years
Yeah.
together.
It's just that,
Time have
you're
changed, the patience
Mm.
level have changed. Actually, there are
Definitely.
so many couples out there.
Definitely.
I think this session is going to turn into a more personal level.
Actually, when after 12 years, when we cracked this news to our parents, and my parents said, "Do you want to think it twice?" I said that after 12 years of marriage, if somebody is given an option, nobody wants to be together. We still want to be together. That means that there is something.
Yeah.
There's unconditional love. There's
So, yeah, because I think we've just literally grown together, that kind of a feel.
Actually, yes.
It's
That's
like
the
more of a
right thing to say
companionship.
that we have grown together.
Yeah, because I was 19, he was 19 when we met. Literally.
Not even 19, I
Yeah, I
think
think
18.
just.
and then
18 or
went through
whatever.
that, even the
He
long
went
distance.
abroad.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, so
You
I
guys
mean,
have survived that phase.
So I think if you can survive long distance, I
Mhm.
think that's the key breaking point.
Hmm.
It's just about the trust, and trust me, out of us nobody stopped either.
But the
Everybody's been
commitment
like a free
never
bird.
failed, right? In your
Yeah.
case. So I think there's no point taking this rapid fire, how close you know Parvez, because I'm sure it's going to be 100 out of 100. Thank you guys for coming, with us for this chat trap. And thank you
Totally
so
a
much.
pleasure.
I'm sure you guys enjoyed the chat session. And now, before we wrap up, we have Mr. Ramesh, Director A-Class Marvel, to come here and convey his gratitude to Sachi and Parvez for joining us in for the chat trap. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us in. We hope that you will love this chat trap. On behalf of the entire team, me, Mehak Dhawan, signing off.